changed.
No. You kill your enemies, and then you make peace with what is left.
It's no longer about nations, ideologies, or ethnicity.
Fuck you, Frenchman.
It's an endless series of proxy battles fought by mercenaries and machines. War and its consumption of life has become a well-oiled machine.
Jesus, we should have gassed all of them.
War has changed.
If we've learned one thing from the Greeks, it's this, that all great tragedies involve a woman, and our story's Helen of Troy would be Rage After Storm. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with who Rage After Storm is, she is not Styx's biological sister, Spoonclank. Instead, she's a YouTuber that accumulated nearly 100,000 subscribers over the course of 6 months. Her popularity was explosive. She was networking with everyone, appearing on multiple streams. People were recommending her to their audiences nearly daily. She seemed to be a golden child, someone who captured a certain demographic and held its attention. That is until she decided to talk about a subject which is apparently forbidden, or as Trout in Tears would say, verboten.
So, after many of you have speculated about my stance on race, especially my recent one, I've decided to make a video about it. Because heck, I love talking about things that will probably get me kicked off YouTube and every other social media website.
Now this video, and the reaction to it, would be the impetus, the genesis, for an autism festival, which would take place over the course of 4 fucking months, dragging its ass across nearly every aspect of social media, from YouTube to Twitter, from Facebook to 4chan. And it would include an entire cast of characters from multiple groups on the internet. But the driving force behind it, the protagonist of this tragedy, would be one individual by the name of Trout. And as you'll see, as these videos unfold, is a story that is of vengeance, of wrath and anger, of hubris, total fucking warfare. The sort of battle online that only a high-class, exceptional individual would ever engage in willingly, that would end up costing Trout nearly everything he had, to the point of where he had to leave the internet out of shame. And yes, like all great Greek tragedies, we even have mythological creatures. Granted, they're not chimera, but there are a few pregnant trouts here and there. Now, with this particular video, I want to put forward a theory on why Trout began a destructive cycle that drove him off the internet. And it all begins with Rage After Storm.
Keep this in mind because it's going to be very relevant indeed.
Now, what I'd like to do is establish a timeline and the reactions which occurred within that timeline. Rage's video, Race is Real, went up on June 24th. 4 days later, on Adam Worski's podcast number 55 on June 28th, Trout and T, among others, discussed their reaction to the video.
Welcome back to another Worski Live. I'm here with
Chris Worski, what's up?
and we have a full house today. We got Trout and T, some black guy, Kasara, and Jeff Holiday. What's going on, everyone?
Now, there are many golden moments that take place within this particular chat. Many of the guests take umbrage with what they see as dog whistling that Rage is signaling to real racists, to the neo-Nazis out there with this video that she is one of them. They don't like the sources which are discussed.
It just looks like she's just repeating what the Daily Stormer article says. She just read the article, said, okay, this sounds right. Apparently didn't put any effort into questioning any of it, and then said, okay, this is how it is.
Fair enough. Maybe the Daily Stormer wasn't the way to go. Maybe she should have looked for information from other sources, like, say, a documentary.
刚才说是你们受欧洲国家管理这么长时间，应该是学到了很多先进的管理经验。
哪有多少时间？没有多少时间了。我们炒那个要那个国经济啊，很炒。现在是50年了，自己50年那个。
就是50年以前，你不是受他们
50年以前什么都好啊。
是啊，那个先进的影响，那个代代往传下来，越传越文明越发达了，怎么越来越倒退越落后了？你看这么先进的铁路，我1930几年就有电气化铁路，我这是中国啥时候才有电气化铁路的？你看矿区那个铁路，电气化那个双轨铁路，因为架得多好。你看现在顶上那个什么，哎呀，千疮百孔啊，破烂不堪啊！把原有留下的东西根本都没有更加的爱护保护去利用它，反而都遭到了毁灭性的重创，就成了这样子的。
That's a bit harsh.
Race realism is actually really fucking pervasive. Stefan Molyneux fucking talks about this shit all the time, and he talks out of his fucking ass. I made 2 videos about race realism. These people fucking followed me for 6 months, making sock accounts just so they can get around me muting them, being like, "Why aren't you debating this?" There's no fucking debate. You
To be honest,
retards.
Those goddamn neo-Nazis and their fucking frog alt accounts. Thank God you didn't do anything to fucking encourage that. Thank God you didn't take their symbol and co-opt it into some E-Bombs world tier shit, huh, Jeff?
The whole point of Kekistan is taking back Pepe from you douche nozzles trying to, like, meme your way into some sort of interesting political position. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about you. Nobody ever fucking cared about you. You're cringy as fuck. The whole meme is just to take the piss out of you.
Maybe you shouldn't be shooting shots across the bow if you don't want fire fucking returned. But nonetheless, on the stream, multiple things are brought up. They don't like her sources, they think it's dog whistling, they don't like her approach to the subject, and there's some definite hostility towards the alt-right, towards race realists, towards white nationalists, or anybody that really sees the issue differently than they perhaps see it. But the shit show proper didn't happen until the very next day, on June 29th, when Trout and T tweeted this out, at Kipper Central. You might want to look into the views of one of your contributors, Rage After Storm. And almost immediately, the reaction is, seriously? Now, Rage had written for Kipper Central, which is a UKIP account. And here Trout is, one day after discussing and mocking her video, writing to them to say that you need to look into your contributor, Rage After Storm. The reaction was not friendly, if you can put it that way. But there's another more interesting reaction that followed fairly quickly afterwards. This was at 9:31 a.m. on June 29th. At 12:05 p.m. on June 29th, a few hours later from when Trout had messaged them, Kipper Central responds, "We can confirm we are looking into one of our writer's recent videos. No further comment will be made until we have reviewed the video." Now, the thing about Kipper Central is, it's a relatively small account. Currently, it has 744 followers, and that's not a number that's drastically changed overnight. They didn't just lose 500,000. It's always been a small channel. So you can probably imagine their shock when they get this response to their announcement about a writer on their website. Great, it's Rage After Storm, and she appears to be a racist pig. Fill us in on what steps you take. Thank you. That's from Soledad O'Brien. Soledad O'Brien knows who Rage After Storm is. Soledad O'Brien is contacting a fucking Twitter account with 700 followers. And very shortly after that, on June 30th, the next day, Kipper Central releases this statement regarding Rage. "We have decided to suspend one of our writers, Rage After Storm, following a series of tweets and the content of one of her YouTube videos. When Rage first started writing for us, she was very down to earth and agreed with many of our other writers on many things. However, very recently, she has changed her views and has become sympathetic to ideologies we cannot endorse or facilitate, unless she reforms her thinking. We will have no option but to remove Rage from Kipper Central entirely. We hope she takes this opportunity to change her ways and rethink whether this is the best direction for her. To be clear, we will not tolerate Rage's current views and standpoints, and people with these views are not welcome in Kipper Central." So within 1 week of her video, she has been disavowed from the UKIP organization which she was associated with. The reaction, the lashback that happened online following this was a bit extreme, but it really ramped up on July 24th when Rage After Storm deleted her YouTube account and her Twitter account, because it was around this time that people went back and saw what Trout had written to Kipper Central and confronted him with it, stating that he had played a hand in basically driving Rage After Storm off of the internet. Trout did not have the best of reactions to that apparent viewpoint. He saw it as an attack on him from the alt-right, from race realists, from white nationalists, from the very people he was mocking in the stream when he made fun of her video. One day after she had shut down her accounts, Trout released this on his Twitter. "I find it fucking hilarious that some of you compared the tweet I made to the letter writing campaign Thunderfoot had to endure. And the best about all of this? Wait for it. Wait for it. I actually contacted her employer, who told me in person that I am absolutely in no way responsible for her being fired, and making it absolutely clear that it was their decision, that many of their writers watch her videos as well, and that many more contacted them by means other than tweets. You, who manufactured outrage over this, are a bunch of pathetic, whimpering little shits. Do you really have so little to add to the conversation that you have to pretend that someone has no personal responsibility for her actions and pin it to someone who critiqued her views? Are your arguments so pathetically weak that you have to devolve into drama shit-flinging? You are a joke. A massive fucking joke. And yes, I'm looking at you there, Edgy Sphinx, Cedarwood, and Blondie. Especially Cedarwood and Edgy. You too? You, after complaining over moral grandstanding? Complaining that people opposed to you do too much drama and no substantive debate over issues? And what do you do about these complaints? You go looking for shit to fling like the little shit-flinging mental midget monkeys that you actually are. Pathetic. Tweets with screen caps to follow. Oh, but Trout wasn't done there. Oh boy, it's almost like actions have fucking consequences. Actions have consequences, huh, Trout? Actions have consequences. Really makes you... Oh shit, my codec's going off. Who's that? Oh, it's Sour Snake. What's that, Snake? Actions have consequences. Okay, thanks, buddy. Thanks for checking in. The very next day, after all those Twitter spats, Trout releases this video, Artificial Outrage. You can tell from the like-dislike ratio that things did not go smoothly. And it's no surprise, really. Listen to who he blames for this artificial outrage.
This nonsense, of course, took its path down the road of ridiculousness, most amusingly with the paragons of ethical behavior joining with them, the doxing AIU scumfuck crowd. And, of course, half of Twitter's alt-right frog accounts about how I supposedly went after her private supposed job, how I tried to censor her, a whole lot of other bullshit.
And he has a few things to say about Rage in particular, and about Kipper Central's decision to disassociate or disavow her.
Rage After Storm didn't have a paying job at Kipper Central. Kipper Central distanced itself from her anyway because, duh, what a shock. They don't wish to associate with racists.
But one of the more interesting pieces from the video itself is when he addresses the tweet that he had sent to Kipper Central. I want you to pay particular attention to how he words this, and to the tweets that he shows while he's talking.
I tweeted at that UKIP blog's Twitter handle to maybe take a closer look into the views of their contributor Rage After Storm. And what happened after that? Well, 20 minutes after I made that tweet, I started thinking that it was childish and stupid and proceeded to delete that tweet and make two statements on Twitter that I had gone too far with this, and that it was childish, and that I had consequently deleted that tweet.
It was childish and stupid, and he deleted it out of shame. And the tweet he's highlighting says, you were attempting to de-platform someone because you disagreed with them. And his response was, acknowledging it. I know that's what I was attempting to do. A lot of the discussion around the events of what happened with Rage After Storm, about did Trout have a hand in getting her disassociated or disavowed? Did he have a hand in pushing her off the internet? Focus on the idea of the consequence, but rarely talk about the intent. Trout is openly discussing the intent right here. He was attempting to get her deplatformed. There's no arguing about that. He says it himself. He acknowledges it in the tweet response. But what I'd really love to know is what changed from him saying this on Andy Worski a month ago.
I'm mainly looking at her sources. I'm not going to make any kind of emotional or moralizing arguments.
To saying this in the video.
And in the end, your Nazi bitch queen, Rage After Storm, as much as you would like to fantasize about her being silenced, packed her bags and ran away like a little bitch.
I'm not going to get emotional. I'm not going to make this personal to racist Nazi little bitch queen. It seems like you might have gotten a little emotional. And that's really the crux of it all, isn't it? Getting emotional, becoming invested, getting angry and wanting revenge. Revenge against who? Well, revenge against those goddamn people that were disliking that video, that were tweeting at him, that were commenting about his actions and his viewpoints. Those fucking alt-righters, those race realists, just like their little Nazi bitch queen, Rage After Storm. They need to be taken down a peg. They need to be taught a fucking lesson. And who better to do it than Trout and his posse of intellectuals? I'm talking high-tier academics, YouTube scientists.
Most well-known and credentialed scientists of this YouTube community.
And so you can see how this one video by this one content creator can gain momentum, can snowball out of control, and motivate Trout through all of the different ripple effects around it to set on a path of his own self-destruction. Everything he has done for the last 4 months is to get petty revenge at a perceived slight from a political group or those purporting to believe in a certain ideology. He was simply pissed off. And the things we'll be discussing in these videos, they're not just about past events. They pertain to things that are happening currently and are going to be happening in the future. You saw it yourself on the Andy Worski podcast. There were 2 people there that ended up in that Discord with Trout. His 24-hour op Discord we'll be talking about next video. There was Trout himself and Jeff Holiday. You know, it's crazy. I wasn't there somebody else? I mean, there was Trout, yeah, and there was Jeff Holiday, but was anybody else in that call when all this shit started? When the very origin event that led to Trout creating a Discord to go after people? Was there anybody else there aside from Trout and Jeff Holiday? Andy, can you give me some information here?
So we just finished Worski Live number 55. Trout was there, Chris, Jeff, Kasara, some black guy, Dave Cullen, and Based Mama swung by at the end.
Based Mama, of course. Based Mama from the Discord with Trout and Jeff Holiday and all the other people running 24-hour ops. Based Mama, who's running an event called Kilroy. Kilroy, an event that basically disinvited people that have right-wing beliefs. You know, all those identitarians, those icky alt-righters, those people that don't align politically with what she likes.
Like, here's my idea. Okay, if you want to be like race separatists, how about all you guys who don't want to do that, you just stay in your own areas and fuck off the rest of us alone.
How weird and coincidental that she would be there at the birthing of Trout's vendetta, and then also in the Discord, and then also making decisions about Kilroy, which somehow shit on people that are right-wing. That really makes me think. That'll be fun to dig into. Put on my tinfoil hat, let's go fucking crazy with this shit. Because I'll tell you, I'm here for the fucking laughs. And what's coming up next is some of the cringiest fucking shit from so many people. It's mind-blowing. This originally was going to be one video, but these autistic fucks can't cool it off for like 5 minutes and let me complete it. It's just fucking day after day of golden quotes. I can't even go over a list of the shit that's coming up. We've got YouTube scientists, we've got people getting cucked. It's some crazy shit. So allow me to introduce you to the concept of a new type of Advent calendar. We're not celebrating baby Jesus. We're celebrating Spurgs. We're going to call this an autism calendar. Every day's a new surprise. So prepare yourself for part 2, my fellow academics.
I'm Pickle Rick!